Hello and welcome back to Adventure's Edge, the Spellbook Masquerade, Episode 2.
So what, are we calling this Season 3 or are we calling this Season 2.5? What is this?
Well, I called it an interim season at when I posted. But it's just kind of its own thing.
Its own thing.
It's a connector. We're connecting the dots. Or maybe it's a tie-in or lead-in. Well, we're not really connecting to Season 2. We're
Okay.
Prequel?
Prequel?
I don't know.
Wow.
No.
Okay.
Okay. Apparently I didn't think it through.
You did. Okay.
Well, yeah. I've got different ideas for Season 3, but I don't want to talk about that right now here. So right now, it's a standalone story. We're running the Spellbook Masquerade, which was published in a Dungeon magazine ages ago, and that's pretty much it. We're going to see how long this takes. It's a one-on-one adventure.
Yeah, cool.
Introducing none other than
Jeannie.
So
can I give a little shout out? You're going to have to tell me where you got these dice, but for Christmas I got two sets of dice with foxes in them.
Yeah.
Yeah. One from my husband. And who made the fox dice that you gave me?
Fenneck and Finch.
Fenneck and Finch.
It was Fennek and Finch, Finch.
And they are super cute. They're super cute. Orange. And then the D6 has little paw prints on it. And yeah, so those are super fun. And then the other set was custom made for me by my son. And he handmade the little foxes in them. And did the resin cast and everything. So yeah, it was super cool. And I thought I was going to be, I thought they were going to be like nipper dice that I was going to be playing with. But,
yeah,
Jeannie's playing with them right now.
They are pretty cute. And it's funny that we separately came up with that idea.
Well, I guess people know me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they have a lot of cute dice. So yeah, fennecandfinch.com. Cool.
And they're not sponsors.
They're not. But you know what? Maybe they could be.
Sure, why not? Yeah. Anyway,
our powerful advertising reach that we have. Okay. So I'm just that maybe, I don't know, if you, assuming everybody that's listening now listened to episode 1, we are continuing our playtest of the Adventure's Edge role-playing game. I did release the first video. It is in audio format if you only are listening to that, so it did come up in the podcast feed. But I think there might have been some context clues where I said this is the first video in a series. So if you actually wanted to watch it, it is on YouTube. Otherwise, listening's fine. I was showing some parts of the character sheet, but I think that covered everything you may need and or want to know while you're listening to this story. There will be more episodes coming, diving deeper into different parts of the system. But I do recognize that is not everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah. All right. Can we play now?
We're going to play now.
All right, cool.
So we are in episode 1. You were tasked to
swap out a book. It couldn't be any more simple than that, right? So you have, you went to a bookshop, you met Vester Burford, and then you went back to the circus, and you did a lot of equipment gathering. I did. Yeah.
And that was all that first day. And then the presumption is you spent the night, maybe you did whatever it is you did at the circus.
Yep, I did my job.
And then you had the whole following day to do, I don't know, was there anything else you wanted to do before diving into this? Because I think the party's at 7 and you have to go get dressed.
Yep. No, just, double check my equipment, make sure that everything's secure and ready and that, I've got places to secret my items and yeah.
Okay. Well, great.
Yeah.
Then we're just going to assume you occupied yourself for the day and we will pick up in the evening. Is that?
Yeah. Yep.
That acceptable?
Yep. I don't think there's any reason to spend the day with Jeannie.
We're going to have a shopping episode.
No.
That'll just kill any opportunity for people to listen to this. Okay. So then you filled your day either working at the circus and or exploring this exciting city and everything it has to offer.
Yep. And then I go ahead and head on back to the bookshop.
Okay.
And greet Vester.
Oh, you did return. I had no doubt, naturally, but I was getting a little bit anxious.
Oh, nope. I said I was going to be here, and here I am. I do need something from you, though.
Oh, what's that?
We'll just consider this part one of the payment. In order to procure some of the equipment for the job, I'm going to need a book by Gregario the Mentalist. Do you happen to have anything by him?
Oh, I will have to hunt around. I mean, he's well known in his field, and I do have some of the occult texts. I can certainly check for you.
Okay. If you wouldn't mind doing that, and I will start putting on the costume, that would be awesome.
Very well. All right. And you proceed to get dressed.
Yep.
And you look amazing in your pirate costume.
Make sure that the beard is secure.
Okay. So I think it is only appropriate that we start this episode with another roll.
Oh, dear. Now I got to choose which my new D20s to use. What? Okay. And I need...
So this is going to be a subterfuge disguise.
Okay.
Just going to see how well you look. I mean, everybody knows people are in costumes. So we'll see how well you were disguising yourself.
So I do have subterfuge as one of my things, but disguise is not a specialty. So
right.
This is at -1 edge.
That is correct.
Doggone it.
It's okay.
Oh, that's not great. It's a 12.
It's okay. So, I mean, this is a pretty low difficulty, but it's just something that I would kind of keep as a comparative number also. So difficulties, the base chart has 5 difficulties in increments of 5 through 25. So a 10 DC is like it's an average sort of thing. And it's not like you're trying to do a Mission Impossible disguise here. It's like you're putting on a pirate costume. So
okay, well, I'll just let you know that my son Wesley's die was the high one on that one, and
okay.
Your die was the low.
Oh, and so it begins.
Yeah. I rolled a 2 on the die you gave me.
Well, if you want to talk about dice, my wife gave me this beautiful, giant, chunky stone die, which I broke out at the table last night. And let's just say it spent the night in jail.
Because you were using it not for its intended purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I blame that's user error. Sounds like a skill issue, man.
Oh, well, I was having a terrible, like half my tray. I had a whole pile of dice in gel, and then I had one die in my brand new gelatinous. That's not a cube. I don't know. Gelatinous
slime mold.
Slime mold. Yes, the dice were being punished. I had a terrible night. So I'm hoping they've all learned and they're ready to.
I curse them. I curse them.
Don't curse my dice. Okay. All right. So, So you probably look decent. I mean, if you were trying to pass for
an actual pirate?
Well, not an actual pirate, but if you were trying to disguise yourself as say like specifically Vester, which you're not, right? You're just trying to conceal your appearance. So.
Yes.
Okay. Great. Then tell you what, I like the idea that he's got a copy of Gregorio's text. Now, I think he was probably going to keep looking around, but why don't we just do a pretty easy luck check here? Because I was thinking he should have it. It seems like something up his alley. So, but this helps you out. So make a luck check.
Ooh, that's a 27.
Wow. Okay, great. Okay, so by the time you are adequately dressed as the pirate captain and swagger back into the room, he has, in fact, a copy of Gregorio the Mentalist's The Mind's Eye, and it's a first edition. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's oh yes, this is an older text. We'll definitely include this in your commission.
Actually, if you can go ahead and just have that sent over to Mesmero the Hypnotist at the Gilded Pickaxe Circus, and I'll just include a little note. Right now, that would be amazing.
Okay. I'm not sure if I can get a courier this time of day, but I'll see what I can find.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess just hold on to it.
I will secure it for you.
Okay.
All right. Any you look dashing.
Oh, well, thank you.
The beard, very nice touch.
I stroke my beard.
Any final questions?
You don't happen to have like any potions or anything that might be useful?
Oh dear, yes. Well, hopefully you won't be needing that, but I suppose you might run the risk of some minor injury in this, I suppose. That would be the very least I could do. Well, maybe not. But he will go and back to his room where he has a locked cabinet, and he will come back shortly, and he will hand you 2 small red vials with little stoppers on them.
Okay, and so are these, what are these?
Well, you should drink them if you sustain a degree of injury. Some would call them healing potions. So mechanically, you would recover 2d4 plus 1.
Okay.
We could do a quick aside and say that potions are actually not created by magicians. They are alchemical creations in this world.
Cool story.
We'll provide little bits of trivia along the way.
Is that what we're going to call it? All right. Do you have anything else that might be useful? I'm just fishing.
I know you are. I'm sorry. That's really all I have.
Can I sense motive?
Like you think you want to?
I want to just make sure that he's not holding out on me.
Well, what is your? So that really, if he was trying to lie to you, he would actually be making, because this is active player, he would be making a
bluff
against your charm score. So, what is your charm score?
Okay, so where's charm?
That is on your front page up next to health, initiative, stamina. You've got body, mind, charm, spirit.
Charm. 13.
13. So if he was trying to lie to you, the base DC would be 13 that he would have to beat. But if that would be modified by your opinion or relationship with that person. So if you're like generally a suspicious person, you would tell me if you think, in this case, is he lying?
No, I guess I don't think he's lying. I'm just hoping for more.
Well, I mean, you've kind of already, you did your initial like sense motive on him when he was kind of emotionally distraught. So you can do a sense motive on him to sort of take his pulse in a way to see how he's doing emotionally. And yeah, I mean, you can make a check, but it wouldn't necessarily be to see if you think he's lying.
All right. I'll just trust him and go about my business then. I've got the satchel and I've got the book.
Yep.
Okay. And I've got the invitation.
You do.
Oh, and am I just walking in the gates? Should I take a carriage or something?
Well, they don't have any. You could just walk through the gates. I imagine most people will probably be deposited by carriages, but not everybody will be.
How much is a carriage?
Oh, to rent one, or to have somebody drop you off?
Yeah.
Let's see. Services. Okay.
Or you could just say he springs for it and send me off in a carriage and skip the finding out how much it costs.
Well, I found it now. So it is on my chart. So a coach service per day is 10 silver, but you're not looking for a whole day's worth?
No, I'm just looking for it's an Uber.
You're just looking for an Uber.
I'll even do shared ride. I don't care.
So what you would need to do, you would probably need to hoof it over to a place that has carriages, which there is one in the city. So sure, we will gloss over that slightly. It is an opportunity for me to introduce another business.
I mean, I need to look like I belong. I don't want to attract unnecessary attention to myself from the very beginning.
No, that's true. No, it is a reasonable request. I probably should have thought about that, all things considered. So it's fine. We're all fine here. So you are going to be, you will have to make haste. He thinks about where you could probably get a carriage kind of without a lot of notice, and gives you the instructions to get there.
Okay.
It is a bit of a walk from where you're at. You make your way across the town, through a couple districts. There are probably multiple carriage places, but you're needing it like right now. So he sends you to a place that you may later learn, while the establishment itself is reputable, the place where you go to pick it up is less so. So there are different districts in the city, and at some point we're going to start probably talking more about the city itself. But there's a whole district kind of down on the wharf side that is sort of segmented off from much of the other population. It actually has its own little wall that goes around it. And it's kind of a non-human district where there's collections of many different non-human races.
I'm not human.
That is technically true. Dwarves don't normally fall into that per se. So you end up making your way to the district and kind of going through its own separate kind of arched gateway, where the smell of the ocean is kind of strong here. You can actually hear the tides in the distance. But as you leave kind of the hustle and bustle of the regular city, you go into a bit more rundown section of town. Not seedy like criminal, but it's just a poorer district of town. But you also immediately notice that there are a lot of non-humans here. You spot some cat people, which we really haven't talked about. The Foresti. You actually see a centaur, just kind of a variety of other interesting races, and there's this pervasive odor in the air here that is not being washed away by the ocean. It's just this dense collection of buildings. So the street that you're walking down, though, is kind of a wide avenue, and you're told to just stay on it. Just follow that down, and you'll find Com Toys, which is a bit down on the left. And since we've established you don't ever get lost, you make your way down to the end of this avenue, where there is a very large warehouse and kind of an open area, and there are many different carriages and carts, and there's a number of actual centaur there working it. Yeah.
All right. I look for somebody and ask to hire a carriage.
All right. So you step through this outer gate where there's kind of an open dirt. It's an enclosed yard next to this large warehouse. It looks like they mostly specialize in cartage, or like hauling things around. But there actually are a couple of older looking carriages, like personnel carriages. And there are some horses in the yard too. So you make your way in, and there's a number of centaur in the yard working on these things. But you do see a sign that says office, and you proceed inside the office, where inside there's a centaur in there. There's a kind of big wide office area. And
It would have to be.
Yeah, it would have to be.
Unless they have narrow frame.
Well, they do actually. Your favorite feat. But he's actually standing behind this white, like big open area where there's a counter, and so centaur are on average about 6.5 feet tall. So they're a little bit smaller than normal size horses. And we haven't seen any centaur yet in the game. He's actually wearing kind of a vest. And they have kind of pointed ears and a shaggy mane-like hair, and he's working on some paperwork when you come walking up. And he kind of looks pretty far down at you. Obviously, you're dressed like a pirate right now. So
I'm not that short.
How tall are you?
I'm 4'6".
Okay, so he's several feet taller than you. So he kind of appraises your outfit curiously and says, "How may I be of assistance? We were just about to close up for the day."
I need to hire a carriage, please.
A carriage? It is for when? When are you needing this?
Now. Immediately.
Immediately.
Post haste.
Oh, and where? He starts thinking, where are you going?
I am going to the Kincaid Monster Ball.
I am not familiar with that.
It's at the Kelsey Kincaid Manor house. I give him the address.
I see. So far on the west side. And will you be looking for return service?
No.
You just need someone to drop you off.
Yes, precisely. I stroke my beard.
You do realize you probably could have walked there faster than coming here.
Not the point. I stroke my beard.
Well, very well. Let me see if I still have a driver. And he will clip-clop out of the room and kind of holler out to the yard. You hear some talking back and forth, and then he'll turn back in and say, "We can accommodate you, sir, madam."
You may call me they.
I see.
No, Captain.
Very well, Captain. It's going to unfortunately cost you a bit extra for the rush, but very well. We'll get somebody hooked up. It'll be just a moment. It will be 12 silver.
12 silver? This is just a one-way trip. Certainly we can do better than that for a captain.
Well, it is a rush, and it is a bit of a haul. Tell you what, give me an influence check.
Okay. Influence, okay. Ooh, that's a good roll. That is a 27. Straight influence, no.
Yeah, I mean, I know I made you use a lot of specific proficiencies last time, but the base skill does cover things. There is technically a trading skill, but that's not what you're doing here. You're just doing some simple negotiations.
Yes.
So if you were trying to employ, I mean, because you're not really trying to do any of those other things. You're just trying to.
No, I'm definitely not trying to seduce anybody right now.
Yeah, just trying to talk him down on his price a little bit. All right, so he's just kind of appraising you and the curiosity of this, and something about the situation seems to amuse him. So, very well, we could do 8.
Still over the going rate, but fair enough.
All right, well, he'll extend his hand.
I will give him the silver.
And we do value discretion at Comtoys, so No need for any paperwork. So come this way, Captain. Your carriage awaits.
Okay.
And so it's it's not run down, but it could use a paint job. But it is an adequate carriage. It is also being drawn by a centaur.
Oh.
Which you might not have been expecting.
I was not expecting that. That's a little more noticeable than I wanted to be.
So he leads you and will, with a sweeping arm, open the...
I'll just roll with it.
He'll open the door for you and allow you to clamber in. It smells a bit musty inside. Probably could be cleaned out a bit, but it's comfortable. There's that.
Okay.
Then he gives the driver the address, and they make haste, leading you across the town.
All right.
So it doesn't. I mean, it probably takes about 20 minutes or so to get back across the town. So it's you're angling for being slightly late anyway. So
yes.
You figure you show up about 7:15 or so, and the gates to the estate are open as he navigates the town remarkably well. He doesn't ask you for any directions. So,
well, I would expect not.
Yeah, you think that is their specialty, but you do get to see a wide variety of the districts in the town. And you're being on the kind of the west side, which you already scoped this place out. I mean, this is basically on the edges of the town, in a kind of area where there's a collection of these small manors. The lesser elite live here. So he will bring the cart through the gate and through the main garden area where there is a kind of a roundabout and circle around. Yeah, you see one other carriage is sort of leaving as you arrive, but other than that, the grounds outside are currently empty. You see that there are two guards standing on either side of the front gate, the front doors to the manor house, which we've previously described, and it's a decent sized 2-story wooden stone building with the balcony on the front left. And some kind of sprawling gardens out in the front. Some rows of hedges, not a hedge maze or anything like that, but just different like square areas of hedges. I will be sharing the maps. And so he halts the carriage, and I believe we have arrived, Captain.
So I'm slightly disappointed that nobody's opening the door for me. But I open my own door, and I hop out, and I tip him a silver.
He will catch it deftly in the air and slip it into his jacket pocket.
And I will say, I appreciate your extra efforts.
Well, at Com Toys, we do aim to please, Captain.
Shh. Have a good evening. Have a good evening. Yes.
Dear. All right. Well, once you are clear of the carriage and proceeding towards the manor, he will trot off and take the carriage away. I'm so glad we got to introduce that.
You're so welcome. All right.
Okay. So you're standing there kind of on the north side of this little roundabout, looking at the manor, ready to go and party on.
I confidently stride forward and take the invitation out of my pocket.
As you get towards the door, they're opened up for you with a degree of exuberance as you see two young women on either side kind of opening the double doors. So just inside, beyond the doors, you see the foyer for the manor house with a kind of a tall ceiling. There's a chandelier illuminating the area with candles. And these two provocatively dressed women are answering the door there. They apparently are dressed like fairies or fae or something. They've got cloth, like gossamer wings on their backs in different styles, and kind of shimmering, colorful gowns. One's in green and one is in purple. And they apparently are wearing colored wigs. Good evening, sir. Welcome to the Kincaid Monster Ball.
Good evening. And I proffer my invitation.
She will kind of bounce forward and take it, and then she'll look at it with a little bit of scrutiny, but not too much. Like she's obviously already seen a bunch of these tonight. And would you like us to take any of your equipment? We can hang your coat up.
No, absolutely not. This is all part of my costume. And I straighten my jacket and
a lovely costume it is.
As is yours.
Well, thank you.
I stroke my beard.
Well, the party has begun. People are gathered in the main hall. There are food and drinks, and the band has just started playing. If you would like to proceed to, if there's some dancing and socializing.
Lovely, lovely. And then I'll go ahead and walk forward.
All right. They kind of giggle and look out to see if anybody else is coming, and then they will close the doors as you proceed to the doors to the main hall. You like that? Inside, you see, there's it's obviously a big gathering space, which has been, if there was any furniture in here, it's been removed. So it can be used as a dance hall. So it's a good 50 by 35 space with a kind of vaulted ceiling. There's a roaring fireplace on the west side of the hall. And on the kind of the northwest side of the hall, there's a simple wooden, like, slatted stage that has been set up where you see there are 3 minstrels playing. There's a buffet table on the north side of the room. And on the northeast side, you can see that there is a bar that has been set up where there is another dwarf. You can see he's a dwarf because based on his stature, but probably standing on something behind the bar. But everybody's in costume, and there's about a dozen people in the room, and just a wide variety of outfits. Again, I'll share the map, but you see there's a queen and maybe a fae princess, and then there's a couple skeletons or a skeleton and some sort of ghoulish figure, and then there's obviously a couple dressed as ghosts, but they apparently didn't really get the memo this was a costume contest, and they're just basically wearing sheets draped over them with the holes. But there are actually some impressive costumes in the room already. There's someone that looks very much like a ghostly figure where they're like painted all white and they actually have like a glow to them, which is pretty impressive. It definitely looks like that somebody cast like a light spell on them.
Okay.
But tell you what, you see a lot of stuff. So you're trying to take it all in because you see like there's another pirate captain.
Bollocks.
No beard though. And I think the only other costume I'll call out because it's amusing is that there is somebody's dressed as like an ogre, but it's obviously 2 people inside of it. So like it's really tall and kind of lanky, and they're over in the corner, and you kind of hear these 2 guys like bickering a little bit as they're trying to get adjusted and maintain their balance, and it's a little bit comedic. But kind of almost as soon as you step through the door, there's a woman dressed a bit like a fortune teller. She's got a little bit of like dappling on her, like little speckles across her forehead, and she has I'm just not sure what that's called, where it's a particular like fortune teller looking hat wrap sort of thing like they wear on their heads, almost like a turban, but not quite. I'm not sure what that really is, but it's like embossed along the edge with gold, and she's wearing like this really almost form-fitting gown with like a really beautiful shawl. You're looking that up for me. See what that's called.
I mean, yeah.
I think it might just be turban, but
it's calling it a turban.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's technically what it is. I just thought it might have some other unique name. She just strides forward, though, as soon as she sees you step through and takes you up and down and says, "Good evening, darling. Welcome to the ball. I see we have another pirate."
Yes, so I see. I'm rather disappointed myself. I stroke my beard.
Disappointed that you're not the only pirate tonight?
Yes.
Well.
I took great pains with my costume.
As well, I can see it is a delightful costume. So she's you can see that she's really sort of trying to like scrutinize your face to see if she recognizes you. But, I mean, as I'm sure you know, Captain Collinsworth always comes as the pirate. It's kind of
tedious.
Well, I think he wears it all year, to be honest.
I had hoped for something more exciting.
Well, there are plenty of exciting things to see tonight. Enjoy the party, dance, dine.
You look fabulous, by the way.
Oh, well, thank you. Of course I do.
As expected.
We have hors d'oeuvres now, and then the full buffet will open at 8:30. We've got the band here, and then there's music playing in the sitting room. Feel free, wander, meander, socialize.
Does she gesture towards the sitting room?
She does.
Okay,
so
good.
She points to the east door when she says that.
Just making sure.
And then, of course, the dining room is open also. There are some guests in there enjoying.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
And she will kind of turn, and you notice there's a couple of women very close, like within earshot, who are clearly also watching this exchange. One of them, older woman, she's really not making any effort to disguise her face, but she is dressed like a queen with this obviously expensive gown and kind of a gold tiara. And she's sort of given the side eye as which you've gathered this is Kelsey. She didn't really say her name.
What, the person in front of me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's kind of giving the two of you side eye. You kind of notice that as she's sitting there talking to this elvish princess. So Kelsey will turn and actually kind of just wander off and go and start greeting some other guests, leaving you a moment to do as you wish. There's a lot of people here. I don't want to spend too much time verbally describing everything because we're going to rely on some visual cues here. And realize this is an audio format, but again, we'll be sharing the maps. But yeah, there's a lot of different people. You do see that the wait staff are kind of refreshing the tables. You notice that in the northwest corner, there's a door there where there's one of the wait staff holding a tray, and then somebody's kind of, which you gather the kitchen is over there.
Yep. So none of these people really interest me. Sorry. I'm going to head straight to the bar and ask the bartender for a recommendation.
All right. So you go walking up to the bar where this other debonair-looking pirate captain is standing next to it. He's actually kind of leaning on the wall next to the bar while he's pulled up a stool from somewhere, and he's sitting there. And there's already an empty drink next to him, and he's apparently on his second one. And I mean, he's human. He looks a little bit older, and he's kind of assessing you as you kind of walk up and to address the dwarf. The dwarf behind the bar, he actually has a little scruffy beard, which you think is actually real, and kind of a little scarf around his head. And he checks you out and says, "Good day, Captain."
Wait, who said that to me?
This is the dwarf behind the bar. He's trying to play into it.
What can I get ye?
Oh, well, what do you recommend?
It depends on what you want to remember tomorrow.
Well, best keep me wits about me. And I wink at him.
Aye, Captain. Well, we have, it's all Kincaid ale tonight, and we do have some wine. We've got the light and the dark.
Oh, I was hoping for some interesting varieties.
Do you say that to him?
No, I say that to you.
Oh,
I'm saying that to you. I was like, I thought, oh, like you set this up with this important brewery, and then I thought you'd give me some cool.
Oh, you wanted me to come up with all the names of the line of
Yeah,
of the brewery.
some cool names and stuff. Like, oh, we've got this this cool autumnal sour mash with, notes of cranberry. I don't know, something cool, but no, you're like, we got light, we got dark, and we got some crappy wine. What do you want?
Oh, sorry. I didn't think to add that to this adventure. I'm sure they do have some fancy names, but now I feel totally inadequate. Thank you.
All right. Well, yeah. All right. So, sure. Give me your preferred Kincaid ale. Then, whatever. I don't really give a crap. I'm not going to drink it anyway.
He kind of shrugs and looks around. He goes, "Well, to be honest with you, I don't prefer much of them all." Oh.
And I slide him a coin and say, "I'd keep that one to yourself, my friend."
Oh, I do. So he'll pour your drink and pass it to you.
Okay.
And then the other captain is going to actually kind of check you out also. I see we have another captain tonight.
Indeed.
I do like a fine beard.
Is that a double entendre? I stroke my beard.
Not tonight. Maybe after a few months at sea, perhaps. Feel like I've seen that outfit before, though. Something familiar. Do you come here every year?
Oh, I wouldn't say every year.
Well, this is the place to be tonight. So much to do and drink.
Well, I certainly hope you get your fill of both.
I'm working on it.
I raise my glass to him.
He will salute you.
All right. And I will proceed to the next room.
Okay. So you just going to slide right out of the main ballroom and then go into the sitting room where as I should probably mention where you were standing, you could hear some piano music through the wall there, even over the kind of the band playing.
Mm-hmm.
So you open that door and step in and then probably close it behind you. And yeah, you see another room. It's actually even a bit larger than the main room, although it is less crowded at the moment. There's immediately to your left, you can see there's like a grand piano where there's a masked woman sitting there playing. And there's a couple of chairs pulled up near the piano where there are a few people listening. One who kind of looks like more like a masked vigilante or maybe a burglar or something. She's got like the black burglar mask looking thing and a cloak pulled around her. But the person next to her is dressed in a pretty elaborate bear costume. It's like they spent a lot of time. You almost think that maybe they used a taxidermy bear in some way. It's a pretty elaborate costume.
That's gross.
It is kind of, but it's very plushy looking.
So we've got furries at this party?
There are some furries. There definitely are some furries. Because there is somebody immediately to your right, kind of looking at a cabinet there, dressed like a minotaur. But it is much less convincing. You see, it's not taxidermy. It's like made out of like an actual felt head with plushy looking horns. So it's something more like you would have expected to see at this type of party. But they're pretty big. Like they're definitely like 6 feet tall. So like a big muscular person. And then there's a small child dressed like a doll, like in a doll's costume, like listening to the music also. And then there's another couple who apparently are dressed like ghostly figures. And then there's a table on the north side where there's like an alcove lined with windows where there are 2 people playing a board game. which we can see if you're familiar with that. And then one of them looks like a werewolf or sort of creature, and then the other one you can't even tell. They're just some sort of undead-looking monster. And then there's a little guy dressed like a wizard with a yellow hat holding a staff.
Okay.
On the east side of the room is like this sitting parlor area where there's a large couch and some chairs facing another fireplace that's not lit. And on the northeast side, there's like a buffet where you see like there's like a big viola or something there laying there. And that is what you see.
All right.
Oh, and there's a door here too that leads to the south, that leads to the room. And then there's a set of double doors that, from your scoping, that leads out to the patio on the east side.
Okay. So I'm going to start by kind of wandering over and checking out the board game.
So you're going to walk over to the game?
Mm-hmm.
You go walking over, and I mean, from a descriptive perspective, it looks like a chessboard, but it's not. Are you familiar with any games like this?
How would I know that?
That would be, I think there's a knowledge skill.
There's nothing that says knowledge games that I see.
I guess that would just be general knowledge. Give me a general knowledge check. This is pretty common.
17.
Okay. Your hot streak continues. They are playing a game of dragon chess with its kind of its own thing in this world. Won't get too much into it, but it has a lot of really interesting pieces, some of which are carved like dragons and other types of mythological creatures. But they are pretty intently playing. And then the little guy, which you think must also be a dwarf, although he's got his face is fully concealed, and then like this conical yellow hat is like covering the whole top of his head, and then his face itself is like covered in like black felt, so you just see his eyes, and he's wearing a little blue outfit, and he's holding a staff, and he kind of turns to you, and it's like, "Oh, are you a fan?"
Yes, I'm a bit of a fan.
Oh, well, they've been playing now for about 20 minutes. They were some of the first people here.
Interesting choice at a party like this.
He shrugs. Not all of us are big talkers.
Okay. So in real life, I found my people, but
I figure they exist everywhere.
but I can't stay here. So
the ghoulish-looking figure, because it's the werewolf's turn now, actually, is kind of pausing, and since you've crept right up on his side there, he looks over at you. You see that it's like a combination, mostly paint, and he kind of gives you a sort of like a slightly leering smile, like he's trying to be in like he's like, acting. It's like, and he grins and then looks back. Give me a perception check, though.
And my luck has failed. 11.
All right, so watching a game of chess might be interesting to some people, but it's not your current mission. The piano player is quite good, you think, and she finishes a song, and the people in the room kind of clap politely. Yep.
All right.
They continue to play the game.
Well, I'll say, luck to you both.
The ghoul will nod. The werewolf continues to stare intently.
Okay, and then I'm going to wander over here, and I'm going to check out the instrument.
Okay, you walk over to that corner there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you I'll give you this. You note as you kind of walk over to the corner, since there's a lot of the windows in the room, that it has actually just started to rain again.
Ugh, great.
Yeah. So something you need to keep in mind for any outdoor activities you're about to get up to. Yeah, so there is it's actually a violin just sort of laying on the table. You see that it is covered in a layer of dust. I don't know if that's did you want to like examine it or anything?
Yeah, I examined it. I find it very odd that at a party like this, they would leave out a dusty instrument and not have dusted this room. That seems actually kind of horrifying.
Well, with that in mind, I would say this probably, I'm not sure what Jeannie would have expected, but the place has a slightly rundown feel to it.
Like an air of neglect.
Yeah. There's definitely either it's understaffed or they just haven't made a priority to really keep up. If that's something that you think you would start to just like be aware of and kind of looking around, like it's been given a cursory cleaning, but a lot of the surfaces probably haven't been dusted on a regular basis. And you notice that the paint here and there is chipping, and there's some spots on the ceiling that definitely need to be touched up. So it's not like it's impoverished or run down, but they're just not maintaining it.
Well, sometimes getting around to painting might be hard, but for just doing a little dusting. Come on now, you're having a party.
Yeah. So since you're looking at it, you do note that because it's not like grossly dusted, but you do note there are some fingerprints on it, like somebody was just kind of holding it or checking it out. So I would say so give me a check. That is going to be, you don't play instruments, do you?
I don't.
So you can just give me a general knowledge check here on the instrument itself. Let's say if you had play instrument, I would probably give you a bonus, but
that's a 15.
Okay.
I was thinking I was going to do an appraise check on it.
Oh, okay. Sure. That actually makes a lot of sense.
So, I do have proficiency in appraise. Is that what we're calling it? Like I've got the...
Yeah, appraising.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Then fine. Go and give me an appraise check.
So, but I don't get an edge because I have that. I just get to roll without.
Right. If you're trying to determine its value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just
make another roll on that.
That's a 19.
Okay. You think it's quite valuable, actually. And I'm going to say combined. I mean, you're obviously not huge on maybe necessarily musical instruments, but you pause and you examine it carefully, and you can see that despite the fact that it hasn't been maintained, it's probably very expensive. Like the fact that this is just sitting here almost a neglectful way, you think is kind of odd. You think it could be worth maybe even upwards of like 1,000 silver. Oh. Like it's like really nice.
Wow. I'm going to make note of that.
Okay.
Because if I can, I'll come back for it. Such a thing of beauty and value shouldn't be neglected like this when it could have a happy home.
All right.
I am going to just kind of, because those are windows behind me, correct?
Yes.
I'm going to glance out the windows. Anything other than rain? Do I see anything outside?
You don't. Look to the east, like the east side of this was the road. You see the east gates, and then you see, probably some people going down the road, maybe another carriage going by.
Okay.
But at this point, it is getting dark.
Okay. So then I will turn and face the room, and then is anybody watching me?
Give me a perception check.
Oh yeah, that's a good roll. That is a 23.
All right, and do you have sense motive?
I do have sense motive.
Okay, actually, I think so. You've already made your roll, which is fine. I would think that actually might be a sense motive. Thinking about it, because you're kind of see if somebody's watching you. Actually, you kind of scan the room, and most people are just watching the pianist. But the guy that's dressed like the ghoul, which, sitting there playing Dragon Chest, he because of the way they're sitting, he's facing your direction. No, he's doing his best to not look like he's staring at you, but he's like watching you pretty intently.
Okay.
Like suspiciously intently.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I will make eye contact with him.
You catch his eye, and there's kind of that moment of awkwardness, and then he will, quickly look away like he's focusing on the game. But yeah, you know that he's aware of you for whatever reason.
Interesting.
You caught his attention.
Okay. I don't like that. All right. I'm going to walk over this way. Those are some books there.
Yeah, there's like a side table sitting behind the couch, and yeah, there's just some scattered books that are out for reading.
And none of them are the book I'm looking for.
You check them out closely, and no, none of them look like that book.
Okay. Then I will continue around, and I'll come over to the door leading to the next room.
Okay. All right. The pianist continues with her song. You can you hear some kind of laughter and cheering in the main hall, and you think that band has kind of finished playing a song or set. And you step through the south door here and go into another room.
Oh.
And you step in and assume are you closing the door behind you?
Oh, I did not know it was closed.
Yeah, there's a door. Yeah. There's a door there.
Oh. Yeah, then I will close it behind me.
Okay. It closes quietly behind you. And you notice immediately that there's the door is sealed really well. Like the other noise from the other rooms immediately get very muffled. Like you can still, right where you're standing, hear the piano going. But this is a library, a very large library. You're gathering that this is thinking about the size of the different rooms here. This is almost like a fifth of the first floor with, towering bookshelves lining the walls. And then there's some bookshelves kind of dividing the room up. And it's really quiet in here. There's an older guy, or dressed like a guy anyway, with long white hair. Almost looks like he's dressed like a puppet. Like his where he's got a poofy shirt, and then it's at the joints is kind of tight, so it looks like almost looks like kind of like a nutcracker.
Okay.
We'll call that. And he's obviously human. And he's kind of standing there, and he was just looking at the books, and he's kind of holding a title, and was just kind of casually leafing through. And he glances over at you and gives you a half smile and nod.
I'll tip my hat at him.
Right.
But not say anything.
That's fair. And you do hear some rustling though, coming from the southeast corner of the room.
Okay. I will just kind of wander through the book stacks. Just kind of perusing, looking for a certain delivery. So I'm looking.
Okay. Yeah. So you're searching around, and then you kind of come around because there's that big center double row of shelves, kind of really dividing the room in half. And as you come around that side, you see in the far corner, and there are some comfortable looking chairs, and there is a hearth here also lit. I should probably give you the little descriptive text because the room's furniture looks soft and comfortable, and kind of a log flares in the fireplace as you kind of come around the corner. And it also has there is a musty scent here too, but it's a comforting, this place feels loved. But you do also notice it's not been they haven't spent a lot of time dusting in here and cleaning. This is not probably one of the main areas. So there has an air of disuse to it. But it has been tidied. Things aren't laying around. There's no clutter. There's no books strewn around. save for in this back corner, kind of hidden away, you see a vampire kneeling on the ground, and there's like a pile of books on a side table that he's like rustling through. And give me a perception check.
Okay, that's not bad. That is a 22.
Okay. All right. He heard you kind of come around. You're being quiet, but it's really quiet in here. So unless you were specifically like trying to be stealthy.
I was not.
Yeah. He, you see him kind of rise quickly. And as he's like tosses the book that he was looking at, he tried to very deftly tear a page out, which he does. And then he like pulls it up his sleeve. So it was a deft maneuver, but you just caught it. And he'll kind of rise and brush his knees off, and then turn and say, "Oh, good evening."
And what are you up to?
Oh, I am a lover of all things written. The written word sparks such wonder. And look at this collection. It draws the eye, does it not?
I do not look away from him.
The warmth of the fire and these cushy chairs. I could just stay here all evening.
So, okay, gosh. I don't know. I don't know if I can do this. I want to try and pick his pocket, but not his pocket. I want to try and pick his sleeve.
Right now he's turned and he's facing you, so that would be pretty much impossible at the moment. Because he's like literally just like standing there looking at you, so you're engaged in a conversation with this guy.
Well, or I also have sleight of hand. Well, maybe I'll gesture and be like, "Oh, well, would you care to show me one of your favorites?" And see if I can distract him like that. And then, I'm going to stab this guy if I have to.
Oh my God.
I want to know what he just stole.
You're gonna stab the, wow. That would be something you could do at a party. Okay. I'm trying to apply a degree of logic here.
Yes.
Yes. I don't think that there's any way you standing and facing this guy talking that you could pilfer that. But, you could probably maybe set something up, or maybe let him walk away and then try to follow him and catch him unawares or something. I think right now, if you just tried something, he would.
He would what?
He's going to absolutely see you.
Well, how about, what book were you just looking at?
So he will gesture at the pile there. And, it was just a small pile that was laid out. Some interesting bits of architecture about the city. I'm fascinated by ancient architecture, aren't you? It's the most amazing thing.
No, architecture is not really my thing, but wasn't there one over there? And I'll point to where he tossed the one.
So give me a bluff check.
Okay. 10.
All right. So his eyes will narrow, and he says, "Oh, well, I was looking at them all, but I do believe they've started a new set. That band is lovely. I feel like I could use a drink. But please enjoy. There's an excellent selection there."
I put my hand on his arm. I grab him by the sleeve and I say, "Well, here, I haven't even touched this one," and I hand him my drink. And I'm holding his arm. "I'd really like to know what book you were just looking at. I feel it's very important right now."
Okay. Good sir. That's quite rude of you, don't you think?
Not as rude as what I just saw. We could do this the hard way or the civil way.
So his eyes will narrow, and you see his body tense, and he will look at you kind of dangerously and say, "Who are you?"
That's an impolite question at a costume ball.
And yet you've approached me with a degree of impoliteness.
Not compared to what I just saw.
I don't think you saw anything. You don't work here.
You know nothing about me.
And you know nothing about me. I suggest that we not find out further more about each other. I would so hate to ruin the mood of the party.
I, on the other hand, have no problem doing so.
So he's not going to take his eyes off of you at this point. And you see he's kind of, he just seems like tense and at the ready. He says, if you wish to look at the texts, again, there's some books on architecture there on the table.
I've tried to be kind.
I suggest you unhand me now, Captain, whoever you are. I am taking my leave. And he will firmly pull away from you.
Well, is he going to make a strength check?
Well, are you going to try to continue hold on
Yeah,
to
I
him?
am.
Okay.
You want to go there? Let's go. I'm assuming he did not take the drink out of my hand.
He did not.
Okay, because then as he tries to pull away, I'm going to throw the drink in his face.
Wow. Okay. I feel like then we're about to have an altercation.
We are.
About this vampire.
You could have made this easy, but no, you didn't.
I did not. So I'm going to do this.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Now I'm scared. I have no backup. I have no backup.
So you've infiltrated the party. You've starting to learn the lay of the land, realizing that there's already maybe a bit more going on here than perhaps you would have expected. And as you're faced off in this quiet corner of the library with a vampire, we're going to have to call this as an episode.
No, son of a...
Because we already ran really long, but I was like, well, this is like a lot of talking.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
and I have a feeling we're about to have like the first fight of this game. So I think that we may have to start with that. And I'm not even sure what to do.
Okay. I'm regretting my life choices right now. I'm just letting you know.
Oh, this is wonderful.
Oh, okay. I think one of the problems of all my characters is that they are just like way too curious for their own good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why they need backup. They need other people because they're like, no, I need the answers. Let's go. Which is a trait they share in common with me.
That is so true. You like the answers.
I do. It's a problem. All right.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, and we're apparently going to. I didn't even know. I wasn't necessarily expecting this, but apparently we're going to have a little library brawl next time.
Yes. Okay.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye.